So, a quick debate review. Look, I said Trump won the first debate against Biden. It was hands down Trump won, and that was that. This debate with Harris and Trump, let's just keep it real. Save your crying, save your spin. Harris won. Trump lost, period. I thought she hit him with some really good lines there, like you're a disgrace on the international stage. World leaders don't respect you. Your own generals, people who have worked for you, people who have worked for Bush, people who have worked for other Republican presidents and candidates and officials, all came out and said you're a danger to democracy. He responds with, "Well, I fired them. They were terrible." Like these are highly ranked conservative Republican stalwarts who agree with most of the policies of conservative people who have impeccable records, and they're saying that you're the problem. There's a common denominator. It's Trump. Um, Inviting people to go to his rallies to say how hollow they are and how little substance they have. Just really smart. She really dug at him pretty well. It obviously got under his skin. His flipping out with they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Like it just, he's lost his mind. Just a lot of bellowing, ranting, raving. One of the things I think Harris really just could improve on. I just don't understand why it's got to be such a political thing. When they ask her why she changed her position on fracking on other things, just say, "Look, 2020 was a different time. I was running a bit to the left, and after pondering positions and thinking about it and talking to people on the ground who understand fracking, who understand law enforcement needs, etc., I went back to my roots, which was a moderate person for the bulk of my career as a prosecutor in California, and I've never changed my values, but I've evolved on those issues." Just say that. Like, I think she struggled when she just wouldn't answer that question. I think Afghanistan, he got a good hit in there. And I think it's interesting, she turned him into the incumbent, right? She's the sitting vice president. He's technically the challenger, but she successfully made that debate a prosecution of him as the incumbent. She made that debate a referendum on Trump as a incumbent president who has been there before. And she looked more like the challenger, and he just went unhinged, and it worked. Moderators, I understand they built fact checking into the debate. One thing it's okay to correct a blatantly false thing, really quickly. But the moderators seem to be going back and forth at Trump a lot, and then they let him turn his mic back on and keep talking. When they did an analysis post debate, Trump spoke for a full 5 minutes, and that's a lot when you're speaking. A full 5 minutes more than Harris, because the one time Harris wanted to rebut something he said, they cut her mic off and they said no and they moved on. But they would go back and forth with Trump as if they were the stars of the show sometimes. Turn his mic back on, let him rebut a rebuttal, and then give him the next question. I just thought that was a little bit crazy. I don't think the Harris people are complaining, because I think they wanted Trump to talk as much as possible and they thought he would damage himself. We'll see if that's true or not. I don't think either of them was very specific on policy. I think Harris is saying, look, I think internationally it was more clear that Harris is going to be tough against, North Korea, Russia. I think Trump has a history of cozying up to those types of dictators. I think she pointed that out. But I think when it comes to domestic policy, other than Trump hammering the table saying, immigrants, 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 and Harris just saying, "Oh, I'm for the middle class. I'm going to give you a extended tax credit. I'm going to help you buy a house, middle class, middle class." You didn't see a lot of specifics from either of them on policy other than that. But I do think, just as much as Trump ended, she's been there 3.5 years. Why didn't she fix all this stuff? Trump was there 4 years. A couple years ago, he ran the first time in 2016 on Make America Great Again, but he still got to make America great again. Like, where did he screw up, right? I thought he was going to make America great in those 4 years. What we really had was, the Seattle occupation he was talking about, Portland, the Capitol riots. I mean, all that happened when he was president. So I don't know how he's going to make America great when a lot of bad stuff happened when he was president. I'm not blaming him for it. I'm just saying, this idea that he's going to save America and make America great and she didn't do anything. I think all of it's a little bit ridiculous because, the president of the United States doesn't control a lot of grander economic and social trends. That's just not how it is. But I do think that, look, Harris looked poised. She looked like she was in command of the facts. She started off a little shaky. I think she had to get her blood flowing a little bit. But once he started ranting and going off and she found her groove, I thought, she had some really well-placed hits. It was interesting because Trump said at one point, China is making all our technology. China is making all the chips. And it's I wish she would have responded because Harris and Biden passed the CHIPS Act. I mean, we are making more chips here instead of China because of Biden's investment on technology. And Harris did point out that we're now getting ahead of China in technology because of the CHIPS Act and our infrastructure investments and technology investments and manufacturing in the United States. You can fight and rant and rave and stomp your feet that Trump's so great and this and that about economics, but those are facts, man. Those are facts, and she pointed those facts out in a way that Biden could not and did not point those facts out. So that's just a fact. Will this move the needle in the election? I don't know. I do think that there's quite a bit of volatility in the polling. I don't know if pollsters are bolstering Trump's numbers a bit because they undercounted him so much in the previous two elections. If they're not doing that, then it looks like Trump's probably ahead, because if they're running even and they're undercounting Trump, then he's going to be ahead. But if they're overdoing it just to compensate for Trump's undercounts in previous elections, then Harris may well be ahead by a significant margin. I don't know generally how this affects the election per se, but just in terms of this debate, I thought Harris went up there and she won the debate. She just looks more poised. She hit him where it hurt. She was able to articulate her positions on foreign policy. I mean, he's talking about the border being a mess, but yet she perfectly laid out the fact that she has a border bill. She had a border bill that Biden was ready to sign, and Trump killed the border bill. So when he says, go to the White House, wake Joe Biden up, go downstairs and sign the bill, like, he would love to. The bill's there. Congress killed it because Trump didn't want it passed because he wanted to run on it. And I liked how she said he wants to run on a problem instead of fix a problem. And I mean, that's true. We could have fixed this immigration problem with this border bill, and he wanted to kill it so that he could run on it instead of actually fix it. I thought that was a very effective line. I just did. So I don't think it's the debate necessarily everybody expected, but it is a debate that occurred, and I think Harris won. I don't know if she should have challenged him right away, and shout out to Rick for saying that to me too, like, maybe let the paint dry a little bit. You might not want to go back and give him another crack at it. But she already challenged him to a second debate. We'll see what happens there. The mics were interesting. You could kind of hear her talking. You could hear him talking to each other. He was addressing her when her mic was off. Probably shouldn't have done that, saying, I'm talking, remember that? I get it, because it's hearkening back to her line against Pence, but I don't think it worked the same way when he does it. So just interesting all around. I do think she won that debate. Interesting, fun time for America to watch it. Today is 9/11, man, so never forget what extremism and absurd, brainwashed fundamentalism and dangerous, violent ideology can do, and the pain it can cause, and how ineffective it is at advancing your cause, but how devastating it is just to everyday people who don't deserve that at all. And that particular, obviously, attack was Islamic extremism, but there is domestic extremism. There are other forms of extremism inside this country and outside this country that wreak havoc and carnage, and we need to stand united against those things. And we will never forget, especially somebody growing up in the tri-state area, will never forget those people who died that day, FDNY, NYPD, the people in the building, the people on the flights, the airline personnel, and the Flight 93 heroes who took the plane down rather than see it crash into the Capitol building that took off from Newark, New Jersey, right here. My mind is with those people all day today. I hope your mind is with those people as well. I like to watch some of the survivor stories where people tell their stories years later about getting out of the towers to commemorate and remember them. Remember, there are still lawsuits and other issues going on and health problems for people that suffered during that time, and our attention should definitely be on them as well. But I'll have a Logic and Larry episode out soon. I hope you guys enjoyed the debate. I hope you're having a beautiful September in this beautiful autumn weather. I'm going through some things, man, but I'm still here for you, to talk to you, and I appreciate everybody who's reached out to me. I will speak to all you guys later. Have a great day.